Hold up. Did this just do what I think it just did? Like, FYI, this entire segment at the beginning of this episode of Bleach is new content. And if I'm not misremembering anything, this entire sequence fixes a massive, like, plot hole, or a question, or settles a question and debate that has been ongoing in the Bleach community for years, almost a decade at this point, and it's kind of wild. Like, why is not more people talking about this? Like, legitimately, this is kind of ridiculous information we got with this episode, because I can't dive too heavily into it because of spoiler reasons, but anyone that has read the manga of Bleach and knows, like, kind of the whole context of this scene, this legitimately fixes a huge problem that happened between these two characters, and, you know, kind of questioning everything that happened prior and all that. I'm very happy about this. Like, legitimately, out of everything I have seen from the Bleach anime, this is probably my favorite segment just for the story alone, because I feel like anime-onlys that watch this scene, they're going to be like, whoa, this is kind of cool, but they're not going to think too much about it. And then manga readers that have probably forgotten, because, let's be fair, it's been a long time. It's been years since, you know, the manga was even, you know, coming out on a week-by-week basis. And so it's very possible a lot of people probably have forgotten about this as well. And it's just like, I think that in terms of just story, this is easily the most important segment that, like I said, fixes just something that was inherently an issue in Bleach. I'm so happy. I'm legitimately happy. I'm so thankful that the team and Taite Kubo is getting to just correct some of the issues that was in the final arc of Bleach. This confirms it. This legitimately does confirm it. There's been new content, there's been new fights, etc., but this legitimately is probably one of the best things that they have added into the anime since its return, because this was fundamentally one of my biggest issues I ever had with, like, you know, Yohabak within the story, and I'm glad it did get fixed. And then it also has multiple hints here where it talks about how, like, you know, Yohabak is potentially the son of, you know, the Soul King, which is just a huge revelation. This is like, whoa, what's going on here? And then, you know, Ichibe's connection with the Soul King as well, and then the whole concept of life and death. This entire episode really paints a huge picture, a different picture than what has been provided to this very point within Bleach. It's, like I said, this is like a very incredible and important segment of the story. And so, let's just dive into that. The stuff I could talk about that isn't technically spoilers. So, this segment kind of gives the Quincy's more of a gray area, instead of just being like evil characters. Now, let's be fair here. A lot of the Steinritters and all that work underneath Yohabak is, you know, definitely not good people. That we have seen a lot of heinous things that they have done. They're not good. But in terms of the main objective of, let's say, Yohabak and maybe the original Quincy's, their very objective and goal was technically more in the gray area than anything else. And the more we see this revelation, this revealing of information with this segment in previous episodes and upcoming episodes, it showcases that, you know, the Shinigami, you know, the Soul Reapers, they aren't necessarily the good guys. They're very shady. They have some good people there, and they do some good things here and there, but they also do a lot of bad things as well. I mean, hell, Mayuri alone, just being able to walk around and do what he does is a walking war crime. I mean, I love the man, great character, but I mean, what he does to his comrades, turning them into zombies, etc., the man is legitimately a war crime. And the fact that he is able to just do whatever he wants and, you know, gets off scot-free just shows enough of how sketchy and, I guess corrupt, you know, Soul Society really is. But back on topic, though, the point is that you get to find out kind of one of the big motivations of Yohabak within this episode, in that his motivation is that he wants to fix the disconnect of life and death. And to kind of give that into more simpler terms, basically, he's like, at one point in time, before the Soul King existed, before, you know, Soul Society, you know, Heko Mundo, and, you know, the living world existed, it was all unified into one world. Life and death was one thing, and it wasn't separated. And he even talks about, like, when he, you know, takes the power from others, and he gets stronger and all that, you know, he can feel the anguish of those that are, you know, have died. And basically, it's like, why do we have a world to where people are in pain and dying and suffering when you could potentially be a part of this paradise at all time periods. And that's what Yuha brings up. He's like, why? Why do we need to suffer? Why do we need to, live and all that when we could be, like, permanently alive in paradise? Where is paradise technically within all these three different realms? Where are they exactly? And I think that's a very powerful question that Yuha Bach asks. He asks basically huge questions like, what are you guys really protecting? You're protecting the Soul King, obviously, and he keeps the balance of this world, the very foundation or pillars of what these three worlds are. But at the end of the day, is there really a paradise? I mean, you guys, we're suffering in, the living world. You have Hueco Mundo that, people suffer in as well. People suffer in Soul Society. It's like, where is this paradise that could potentially be if everything was unified under one banner? And so, like I said, Yuha Bach's goal, he's not necessarily, at the end of the day, a lot of people are going to die, and, like, if the world has to be shoved into one, that's going to kill a lot of people, and a lot of things are going to change, and it's just unimaginable what exactly would happen. But his goal, in its own way, is not necessarily evil. He wants people not to suffer and be peaceful to a degree, at least the way it's presented with this segment of the episode. So it's pretty interesting. It's a really nice, context to what Yuha Bach is fighting for, and the main objective of why he wants to reach the Royal Palace, the Soul King, etc. It's very cool. Now, anyways, I would dive a little bit heavier into some of the content that this scene does, with the whole thing with this exchange with the hand and stuff, but if I do so, it goes into some spoilers that anime-onlys would not know about, so I'm not going to dive into that one, but I'll talk more about that in due time. Anyways, moving off this scene, this episode legitimately got me kind of emotional, actually. This very segment here, where Ichigo and the group is, like, traveling up and all that to the Royal Palace, they even mention themselves, it's very nostalgic. It's a very nostalgic scene, seeing all these characters that are kind of the OG characters traveling up to a realm above and all that, breaking an entry, so to speak, and trying to save the day. It feels like, the origin of Bleach. Like, remember, when we first got into Bleach, when many people first laid eyes upon the Bleach anime or manga, we got the whole Soul Society arc, Rescue, Rukia, and it was easily people's favorite arc. A lot of people, basically said that Soul Society was the best that Bleach could offer. And I would argue that, as much as people want to hate it, and I know a lot of people hate it, and this is definitely a hot take I'm about to say, I personally think that, the Fullbringer arc was incredible. I like that arc and what it tried to do with Ichigo's character. It's sad that, Tite Kubo couldn't really cook with that arc, because, basically people are like, you need to get off this arc, we don't want to see powerless Ichigo and all that type of stuff. I really liked what, that arc was trying to present, but, once again, it couldn't happen because, we didn't live in a world to where, we could allow Tite Kubo to cook with that arc. But, anyways, back on topic, though, I think that having this nostalgic feeling of just the characters coming together and traveling and trying to take on a big bad is pretty cool. It's, like I said, it's nostalgic, and it really hits. And I like how the characters are very aware of this, of just how far they've come. It's an acknowledgement of the journey to reach this very point. And in a lot of ways, it has taken a long time. It's taken almost 20 years to get to this point. I mean, hell, like, we waited a decade for the anime of Bleach to return, and it's finally here, and it's been basically a 20-year journey at this point, just to finally be able to see this again, and it's very emotional. I really get emotional seeing this type of stuff, and you could call me a crybaby, whatever, but I do get emotional when I just see, a long journey finally kind of slowly coming to an end, and a lot of people felt this when Bleach was, like, at this point within the manga. I remember talking about, like, you could feel the conclusion of Bleach just really, catching up. Like, you can feel it. It's very close. It's not that long from now. And you can just definitely see it from the way the series is being written at this point, especially just in the anime. Now, besides that, we have some very excellent moments with fights, etc., with the Quincy's to, just the Squad Zero. Oh my goodness. Like, legitimately, I absolutely love the voice actor of her. Shinjumaru, I believe that's her name. I love the voice actor, like, nails it so perfectly. The voice acting choices for a lot of these characters have just been spot on and better than I could possibly ever have imagined. And I love it. I love how this, the staff of Bleach is really cooking in every department, to the added content, to the art and animation, but also just the voice acting. And I will say the voice acting has been the best part of the return of Bleach. Like, it is incredible to hear these characters finally with a voice. Like, just see them with a voice and not have to imagine in your head when you're looking at a manga panel, hearing them actually speak these lines. It's just so good. And, also this scene too at the end, like, oh my goodness, this sword fight as well with the sword that's just so sharp that, it can't be sheathed. That's badass. Like, let's be honest, that's just straight badass. But I want to talk about this final segment, with Yuha Bach and all that, and Ichibe. I can't believe I'm finally seeing this. Like, this was a moment I vividly remember reviewing and talking about when it was coming out in the manga. Like, I remember making videos on it and just being like, yo, we're finally going to get to see these two go at each other, because Ichibe he's kind of built up. He's kind of menacing. And finally seeing the two characters finally confronting each other, it's like, what's going to happen? So it's really exciting to finally get to see this scene animated after so long. And I cannot wait to see just, like, how it is displayed within the anime. But, yeah, overall, I wanted to say, great episode. Legitimately great episode. The action sequences were great. The introductions of, like, the Royal Guard of the Quincy's and all that, the Squad Zero. Oh my goodness. It was just a great segment all around. I couldn't help but just sit back and just enjoy and smile while watching this episode. But okay, I guess I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. May you all have a fantastic day or night wherever you live. Be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.